The giant screen in the United Nations Emergency Council chamber flickered to life, showing a creature that looked almost like a parody of what humans thought aliens should look like. It had gray skin, large eyes, and a head that seemed too big for its body. But this was no parody. This was the High Speaker of the Galactic Council, and it was about to change Earth's future forever. James Miller stood at the back of the chamber, his hands clasped behind his back. 20 years of diplomatic service hadn't prepared him for this moment. He watched as the alien began to speak, its words automatically translated through the advanced communication system they had provided Earth just 6 months ago. People of Earth, the High Speaker's voice boomed through the chamber. Your trial period of integration has concluded. The Galactic Council has reached its decision regarding your civilization's status. The room fell silent. Over 300 representatives from Earth's nations held their breath. Your species has shown concerning traits, the High Speaker continued. Your rapid technological advancement, your aggressive expansion plans for your solar system, and your continuing internal conflicts make you unsuitable for full membership in the galactic community. Miller's jaw tightened. He had spent months trying to convince the Council that humanity's differences were strengths, not weaknesses, but they hadn't listened. Therefore, the alien continued. You have two choices. Submit to direct Council oversight, accepting our guidance in all matters of governance and development, or face complete isolation from the galactic community. You have 30 Earth days to comply. The screen went dark, leaving the chamber in chaos. Shouts and arguments erupted from all sides. Miller watched as the Secretary General tried to restore order, but he wasn't paying attention to the noise. His mind was racing, analyzing everything he knew about the Council from his 6 months of interactions with them. Something wasn't right. 3 hours later, Miller sat in a secure underground facility with 5 other people, the Secretary General, 2 leading scientists, and 2 military commanders. On the table between them lay a data tablet containing information that had cost 3 brave hackers their lives to obtain. Look at these dates, Dr. Thompson said, pointing to the screen. Her fingers trembled slightly. They've been here, watching us, for over 500 years. Everything they told us about first discovering Earth 6 months ago was a lie. Miller nodded. And that's not all. Look at the genetic marking data they've been collecting. They've been taking DNA samples from humans for centuries. They're not just watching us. They're studying us, like we're some kind of experiment. General Roberts leaned forward, his face grim. The question is, why? Why maintain this facade? Why pretend to discover us now? Because they're afraid, Miller said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. Think about it. They've watched us go from horse-drawn carriages to space stations in just a few generations. They've seen us split the atom, create artificial intelligence, and start planning Mars colonies. We're developing faster than any species they've ever encountered. And now they want to control us. The Secretary General finished, either through direct oversight or by cutting us off from any advanced technology we could learn from. Exactly. Miller stood up and walked to the wall screen, pulling up the data they'd decoded. But they made a mistake. They gave us access to their communication systems, thinking we couldn't break their encryption. They didn't expect us to figure out their security so quickly. They don't understand how humans think. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They had 30 days before the Council expected an answer. 30 days to prepare for whatever came next. So what do we do? General Roberts asked. We can't submit to their control, but isolation could cripple our development. Miller turned to face the group, a small smile playing on his lips. We do what humans have always done when backed into a corner. We find a way to fight back. They think they know everything about us, but they've missed something crucial. What's that? Dr. Thompson asked. They've been studying us like we're specimens in a lab, but they've never truly understood us. They don't know what humans are capable of when we're threatened, and that's going to be their biggest mistake. The Secretary General stood up. I'll call an emergency session. We need to inform all world leaders, but keep this from the public for now. Mr. Miller, I want you to start analyzing every piece of data we have on the Council. Find their weaknesses. As the others filed out, Miller stayed behind, staring at the alien text scrolling across the screen. The Council thought they were giving Earth an ultimatum. Instead, they had just made the biggest diplomatic mistake in galactic history. They had given humanity a reason to unite. 20 days after the Council's ultimatum, Dr. Thompson stood in her underground lab, staring at test results that could change everything. She grabbed her phone and called Miller immediately. "You need to see this," she said. Now. Miller arrived at the lab within an hour. The room was filled with strange equipment, half of it human-made, half salvage from alien technology they'd been secretly studying. Dr. Thompson didn't waste time with greetings. "Look at these readings," she said, pointing to a large screen. "We've been comparing human DNA with samples from 30 other Council species. There's something unique about us." Miller looked at the complex charts. "Can you explain it simply?" "Earth is what they call a death world," she said. "Our gravity is stronger than most inhabited planets. Our atmosphere is thicker. We have extreme weather, dangerous animals, and countless diseases. Most alien species would die here without protection." She pulled up another screen. "But humans didn't just survive here. We thrived. Our bodies adapted. We're stronger, more resilient, and more adaptable than any Council species. They don't just fear our technology, James. They fear us." Miller walked closer to the screen. How did they miss this? They didn't miss it. They've known all along. That's why they've been watching us for centuries. "Look at this." She opened a decoded Council file. "They have a classification for species like us, rapid adapters. In their entire history, they've only found 3 other species like us. And they're all extinct." Miller felt a chill run down his spine. The Council killed them. No. According to these records, those species destroyed themselves. The Council thinks that highly adaptive species are naturally aggressive and unstable. They believe we're doomed to the same fate. "Unless they control us," Miller said quietly. "Exactly. But here's what they don't understand." Dr. Thompson pulled up new data. "Those other species were alone on their planets. Humans are different. We had to compete with other intelligent primates. We had to cooperate to survive. We learned to work together." She pointed to another screen showing brain scans. "Our brains are wired differently from the Council species. We can imagine multiple solutions to a problem. We can think abstractly. Most Council races are logical, but rigid. They follow patterns. We break them." Miller started pacing, his mind racing. "So when they gave us their technology 6 months ago, we didn't just copy it," Dr. Thompson finished. "We improved it. Their universal translator. Our team rebuilt it to work faster and handle Earth languages better. Their energy shields. We found 3 new ways to modify them. Things that seem obvious to us never occurred to them in thousands of years." She walked over to a covered object in the corner and pulled off the sheet. Under it was what looked like a normal computer server, but with strange, glowing parts. "This is our biggest breakthrough," she said. "We combined their quantum computing technology with our regular computers. They thought it was impossible. Their systems are too different. But we did it, and it works better than either system alone." Miller stared at the machine. "How long until it's ready?" "A few days. Once it's running, we'll be able to process data faster than anything the Council has. We can crack their codes, predict their strategies, maybe even hack their ships." Miller nodded slowly. "They think they're dealing with primitives who got lucky with technology. They don't realize that living on Earth made us different. Special. Better," Dr. Thompson said firmly. "Not because we're naturally superior, but because we had to be. Every human invention came from solving problems, from surviving. We don't just adapt. We innovate." Miller's phone buzzed. A message from the Secretary General. The Council was calling for an update on Earth's decision. "Keep working," he told Dr. Thompson. "I'll stall them." They gave us 30 days, thinking we'd either submit or panic. Instead, they gave us time to prepare. As he walked out of the lab, Miller smiled. The Council thought they were being generous with their ultimatum. They didn't realize that humans work best under pressure. In trying to control humanity, they had accidentally given Earth exactly what it needed, a reason to show its true strength. The next time the Council called, they would learn what happens when you back humans into a corner. They weren't dealing with just another species. They were dealing with Earth's children, and Earth had made them strong. The attack came without warning. Miller was in the UN control room when every screen suddenly went dark. Around the world, satellites began failing. GPS systems crashed. Communications went dead. "They're trying to blind us," General Roberts said, looking at the last readings from their systems. The Council decided not to wait for our answer. But instead of panic, Miller saw something that would have shocked the Council: humans smiling. "Signal the commands," Miller told the general. "It's time to show them our first surprise." Across the globe, hidden facilities hummed to life. While the Council thought they had crushed Earth's satellite network, they didn't know about the backup systems humanity had secretly built. Not in space, but on Earth. Ground-based laser communication network online, a technician reported. Underwater fiber network active. Old radio systems ready. Miller nodded. They thought taking out our satellites would leave us helpless. They forgot that humans always plan for things to go wrong. In orbit, Council ships moved into position around Earth. Their commanders were confident. They had disabled the primitive human communication systems. Now they would demand surrender. The main screen in the control room flickered back to life, showing the high speaker's face. "Your resistance is..." The alien began, then stopped. Its large eyes blinked in confusion. "How are you still communicating?" Miller stepped forward. "Did you really think we wouldn't have backups? Humanity learned long ago not to rely on just one system for anything important." "Impossible," the high speaker said. "Our scans showed no secondary orbital network." "That's because we didn't put it in orbit," Miller replied. "Look down." On cue, thousands of ground-based stations activated. Laser beams bounced between mountain peaks. Underground cables carried signals across continents. Ancient radio towers, maintained just in case, spread messages through the air. But that wasn't the real surprise. "All units," General Roberts spoke into his microphone. "Execute Operation Thunderbolt." Around the Earth, hidden launchers opened. Not missiles, something else. The Council ships detected the launches too late. Before they could react, hundreds of small objects reached orbit. "What are these devices?" the high speaker demanded. "We call them mosquitoes," Miller said. "Small, annoying, and very hard to stop. Just like humanity." The tiny drones swarmed around the Council ships. They weren't weapons. They were something worse. Each one carried a modified version of the Council's own communication technology, broadcasting on frequencies that their ships couldn't block without shutting down their own systems. "Your ships now have a choice," Miller explained. "Either shut down all communications to block our drones, or listen to every radio and TV show humans have ever made. We recommend starting with cat videos." The Council ships tried to shoot down the drones, but there were too many. Each destroyed drone released dozens of smaller ones. Earth's scientists had learned well from studying natural systems. "This is your final warning." The high speaker tried to sound threatening, but its voice shook slightly. "Submit to Council authority or..." "No," Miller interrupted. "This is your warning. You tried to blind us. We responded in hours. You thought taking out our satellites would cripple us. Instead, we showed you one of humanity's greatest strengths. We always have a backup plan." On screens around the control room, Council ships started retreating. Their perfect formation broke as each captain tried to deal with the swarm of human drones differently. Some tried fighting. Some tried running. None succeeded. "Tell your council this," Miller said to the High Speaker. "Humanity doesn't want war. We'd rather be friends. But if you force us to fight, you'll learn why Earth's species are so strong. We don't just survive. We adapt. We improve. And we never, ever give up." The High Speaker's screen went dark. In orbit, the Council fleet retreated, their ships still surrounded by clouds of tiny Earth drones. "Think they got the message?" General Roberts asked. Miller watched the alien ships disappear from their radar. "They got one message, but they still don't understand the most important thing about humans." "What's that?" "This was just our first move," Miller said. "And unlike them, we're very good at learning from our enemies. Their attack just taught us exactly how their ships work." Dr. Thompson walked into the control room, holding a data tablet. "You'll want to see this," she said. "Our quantum hybrid computer just finished analyzing their ship movements. We know how their engines work now." Miller smiled. The Council had tried to show their power. Instead, they had shown humanity their weaknesses. The real fight was just beginning. The Council's military commander slammed his fist on the table, making the holographic display flicker. How are they doing this?" Reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Earth ships had appeared out of nowhere, using technology that shouldn't work. Their weapons were primitive but somehow effective. Their tactics made no sense, yet they kept winning. Meanwhile, on Earth, Miller watched a demonstration that would have given the Council nightmares. "We call it the slingshot," Dr. Thompson explained, pointing to what looked like an old railway gun. "It doesn't use any advanced technology, just basic physics and really good math." The massive gun fired. A simple metal ball shot into space, moving so fast it glowed. On the tracking screen, they watched it hit a Council sensor station, tearing through its advanced shields like they weren't there. "Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons and high-tech missiles," General Roberts said, grinning. "They never thought anyone would just throw rocks at them. Really, really fast rocks." Miller nodded. "Simple solutions. That's what they don't understand about us." Around the world, humanity was fighting back in ways the Council never expected. Tribes in the Amazon showed soldiers how to move unseen through any terrain. Racing engineers from Italy helped design ships that could outmaneuver the Council's best pilots. Computer gamers from Korea developed battle strategies that broke all the Council's military rules. "Sir," a young technician called out, "the fishing boat fleet is in position." Miller turned to the main screen. Off the coast of Japan, hundreds of fishing boats floated innocently. Each one carried something special, old-fashioned radio equipment modified with Council technology. "Begin Operation GhostNet," Miller ordered. The fishing boats activated their devices. Suddenly, the Council's advanced sensors couldn't tell what was real anymore. The simple radio waves, mixed with alien tech, created false images. To the Council ships, it looked like Earth had a massive fleet ready for battle. "They're responding," the technician reported. 3 Council battleships are changing course to intercept." Nothing. While the Council ships chased ghosts, real Earth vessels slipped past their defenses. Not warships, just regular cargo ships carrying surprise packages to Council worlds. Dr. Thompson checked her tablet. "The Australian surfers' idea is working perfectly. They're riding the Council's own communication waves to slip through their security nets, just like catching the perfect wave." Miller remembered how the surfers had explained it. If you can't overpower a wave, you ride it. Now Earth ships were surfing the galaxy's data streams, appearing and disappearing at will. "Update from India," General Roberts announced. "Their tech support specialists have completely confused the Council's AI systems. Apparently, they're using the same tricks they used to deal with computer viruses in the 2020s. Miller laughed. The Council thought Earth was primitive because humans kept old technology and skills. They didn't understand that each generation of technology taught lessons that stayed useful. Message from the High Speaker. A communications officer called out. They're demanding to know how we're blocking their scans. Tell them it's an old human technology, Miller replied, called turning things off and on again. The room filled with laughter. Simple solutions beating advanced technology. That was humanity's strength. Dr. Thompson walked over with new reports. The Council's getting desperate. They've lost 23 ships this week, and they still don't know how we're doing it. Their commanders are fighting about what to do next. Of course they are, Miller said. They're looking for one big solution, one perfect strategy. They don't understand that humans use everything we have. Old and new, high-tech and low-tech, whatever works. On the main screen, more reports came in. A group of Canadian hunters had taught Earth soldiers how to track Council stealth ships by watching for small changes in animal behavior. Brazilian carnival designers had created decoys that fooled Council targeting systems. Indian railway controllers were helping coordinate Earth's space fleet using skills from managing the world's busiest train networks. The Council thought they were facing a primitive species learning to use advanced technology, Miller told the room. Instead, they're facing all of human history, every skill, every lesson, every trick we ever learned, all being used in ways they never imagined. He looked at the latest battle reports and smiled. And we're just getting started. The Council had wanted humans to follow their rules of warfare. Instead, humanity was rewriting the rules entirely. 2 months into the conflict, Miller sat in a secret meeting room beneath Geneva. The walls showed live feeds from different Council worlds. What he saw made him smile. Play the new message again, he told his team. A young alien appeared on the main screen. Unlike the High Speaker's gray skin, this one had blue scales and looked more like a young dragon. It was the leader of the Astral Kingdom, one of the newer Council races. People of Earth, the alien said, not all of us agree with the Council's actions. We were like you once, young, different, feared. We want to talk. No tricks, no threats. Just talk. It wasn't the only such message. 5 other young Council races had secretly contacted Earth in the past week. They were tired of the old Council members telling everyone what to do. Dr. Thompson entered the room with new data. You need to see this. Our spies on Council worlds are reporting massive protests. The younger species are asking why the Council attacked Earth without proper cause. Show me, Miller said. The screens filled with images from across the galaxy. On one world, aliens that looked like tall blue trees were holding signs with Earth symbols. On another, creatures made of crystal were broadcasting human music in protest. A third showed ocean-dwelling aliens copying Earth's protest techniques, forming huge swimming circles around Council buildings. They're learning from us, General Roberts said, watching the feeds, just like we learned from their technology. Miller nodded. The Council's biggest mistake wasn't attacking us. It was letting their member species watch us. Humans might not have the most advanced technology, but we know how to inspire people. A technician called out from his station. Sir, the Astral Kingdom just publicly announced they're sending diplomats to Earth. The Council ordered them not to, but they're coming anyway. More updates poured in. 3 more young species had declared they would meet with Earth, ignoring the Council's orders. The old power structure was cracking. Incoming transmission from the High Speaker, someone announced. The main screen switched to show the familiar gray alien, but something was different. The High Speaker looked worried. This is a formal warning, the alien began, but its voice lacked its usual confidence. Any species meeting with Earth will face serious consequences. No, they won't, Miller interrupted, because you can't fight us and control your own people at the same time. Can you? The High Speaker's large eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of stress they'd learned to recognize. You are turning our people against us. No, Miller replied calmly. You did that yourself. By trying to control everyone, by refusing to accept different ways of thinking, by treating new species like they're dangerous just because they're different. We just showed them they had a choice. On other screens, more protests broke out across Council worlds. The younger species had watched Earth fight back against impossible odds. Now they were finding their own courage. Dr. Thompson handed Miller a tablet showing new intelligence. The Council's inner circle is fighting among themselves. 3 of the oldest species want to crush Earth completely. 4 want to negotiate. The rest are too scared to choose sides. Of course they are, Miller said. For the first time in their history, they're facing something they can't control or predict. General Roberts looked at the protest feeds. It's like watching dominoes fall. Every time one species stands up to the Council, 3 more find the courage to do the same. Miller stood up and walked closer to the screens. Earth ships were now openly docking at friendly alien worlds. Human music, art, and ideas were spreading across the galaxy. Species that had been afraid to question the Council for centuries were finding their voices. Send a message to all Council worlds, Miller ordered. Tell them Earth is ready to share our technology, our culture, and our friendship with anyone who wants it. No conditions, no demands for loyalty, no threat of punishment. Just free exchange between equals. As the message went out, the screen showed immediate responses. More species declaring independence from Council control. More calls for reform. More demands for change. The High Speaker's image returned. You don't understand what you're doing. The Council maintains order. Without us, there will be chaos. Miller smiled. No, without you, there will be freedom. And that's something humans understand very well. The revolution had begun, and it started not with weapons, but with hope. The time had come for Earth's masterstroke. Miller stood in the Global Command Center, now filled with both human and alien representatives from friendly species. On the main screen, a countdown timer ticked away. Is everyone in position? He asked. Dr. Thompson nodded. All Earth ships are ready. Our allies are standing by. Operation Truth is ready to begin. For 3 months, Earth had been fighting and building friendships across the galaxy. But that was just preparation for this moment. While the Council watched Earth's ships and protesters, they hadn't noticed what humans did best, working quietly behind the scenes. Begin Phase 1, Miller ordered. Around the galaxy, thousands of small devices activated. Earth had hidden them on almost every Council world, smuggled in by trading ships, hidden in everyday items, carried by seemingly innocent tourists. Each one was simple, just a modified version of Earth's old radio technology combined with Council systems. Signal reaching all Council worlds, a technician reported. Their communication network can't block it because it's too simple, just like our mosquito drones. On every Council planet, screens lit up. Speakers came to life. The truth about the Council began to play. These are the Council's secret files. Miller's voice announced across the galaxy. Watch and decide for yourselves. Dr. Thompson's team had spent months decoding the Council's records. They showed everything. How the Council had destroyed species they feared. How they had held back technological progress to maintain control. How they had lied to their own people for centuries. Phase 2, Miller commanded. Earth ships appeared near every major Council facility. Not to attack, but to protect the people living there. Humans had learned from history that revolutions could turn violent. They weren't going to let that happen here. Multiple Council ships powering weapons, General Roberts reported. Send them the message, Miller said. On every Council ship, screens showed a simple image, their own engine rooms. Earth's best computer experts had quietly slipped into their systems weeks ago. Not to take control, but to show them something important. Your ships work because of stolen technology, Miller's voice told the Council captains. Technology you took from species you destroyed. We know how to turn it off. We don't want to, but we will if you force us. One by one, Council ships powered down their weapons. They had finally learned that fighting humans was useless. Earth would always find another way. Phase 3, Miller ordered. This was the most important part. On every Council world, humans and friendly aliens began setting up something simple, public meeting places, forums where people could talk freely, markets where they could trade fairly, schools where they could learn the true history of the galaxy. "The High Council chamber is calling," a technician announced. The main screen showed all 12 of the highest council leaders. They looked angry, scared, and confused all at once. "What do you want?" the High Speaker demanded. "Control of the council. Revenge." Miller shook his head. "We want what humans have always wanted. Freedom to grow, learn, and live in peace. Not just for us, but for everyone you've kept down." He pressed a button, and new images appeared. Earth ships delivering medicine to worlds the Council had neglected. Human teachers showing alien children how to think critically. Earth's artists and musicians performing with alien artists, creating new forms of expression. "Look at your worlds," Miller told them. "Really look. We're not destroying your civilization. We're helping it grow." The council members watched in silence as their carefully controlled galaxy transformed. People were talking freely, sharing ideas, solving problems together. "Your choice is simple," Miller said. "Step down peacefully and help us build something better, or watch as your people build it without you." One by one, the council members looked at each other. For the first time in their long lives, they faced something their power couldn't stop: change. "Perhaps," the High Speaker said slowly, "it is time for us to learn something from Earth." Miller smiled. Humanity hadn't just beaten the Council, they had shown them a better way. "Welcome," he said, "to the new galaxy." Around him, humans and aliens cheered together. The revolution was nearly complete, and not a single shot had been fired in this final battle. Earth had won using its greatest weapons: creativity, cooperation, and hope. 1 year after the Council's surrender, Miller stood in the new Galactic Assembly building. Unlike the old Council chamber's cold, gray walls, this room was filled with light and color. Representatives from every species sat together, not in ranks of power, but in a great circle of equals. "Hard to believe it's only been a year," Dr. Thompson said, standing beside him. "Look how much has changed." The changes were everywhere. On the main floor, a former council member was learning Earth dance moves from a human teacher. Near the windows, crystal aliens were showing human children how to speak with light patterns. In one corner, Amazon tribal leaders were teaching young aliens about protecting natural environments. "Latest reports are in," General Roberts said, walking up with a tablet. "The galaxy's technology level has jumped forward 30 years in just 12 months. Turns out when you let different species work together and share ideas, amazing things happen." Miller nodded. "Any problems to report?" "Just the usual growing pains. Some old council supporters still complain, but it's hard to argue with success. Every world's standard of living has improved. Disease rates are down. Trade is up. And we haven't had a single armed conflict since the change." The room quieted as the new High Speaker approached the central platform. She was from the Astral Kingdom, the first of the young species to support Earth. Her blue scales shimmered as she activated the communication system. "Fellow beings of the galaxy," she began, "1 year ago today, Earth showed us a new path. They could have used their victory to take control, to become the new Council. Instead, they showed us something better: how to work together as equals." On screens around the room, images appeared from across the galaxy. New cities built by mixed species teams. Schools where children from 100 worlds learned together. Hospitals combining Earth medicine with alien healing arts. "Humans taught us their most important lesson," the High Speaker continued. "True strength doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from helping each other grow." Dr. Thompson checked her tablet and smiled. The new quantum hybrid internet just went online. Now anyone in the galaxy can share ideas instantly. The Council kept species apart for thousands of years. It took humans 1 year to bring them together. Miller watched as more images filled the screens. Earth sports being played on low-gravity worlds. Alien music festivals in human cities. Scientists from different species solving problems together. You know what the Council never understood about us? Miller said quietly. Humans don't want to be the strongest or the most advanced. We just want to be free to try new things, to learn, to grow. And we want that for everyone. The High Speaker was finishing her speech. And so, on this historic day, we officially dissolved the last remains of the old council system. In its place, we established the Galactic Union, not ruled by any one species, but guided by all of us together. Cheers filled the room. Miller saw former council members clapping alongside the species they once controlled. Change hadn't been easy for them, but humans had shown them something they'd forgotten: the joy of learning and growing. Message from Earth, General Roberts said, checking his device. The first joint human-alien colony ships are ready to launch. They're going to explore the parts of the galaxy the Council said were too dangerous. Of course they are, Miller laughed. That's what humans do. We explore, we learn, and we bring our friends with us. The High Speaker was announcing new projects, research stations combining different species knowledge, trade routes connecting distant worlds, schools teaching the best of all cultures. The galaxy was alive with possibility. Not bad for a primitive species from a death world, Dr. Thompson said with a smile. Miller looked around the room one last time. Humans and aliens working together, sharing stories, making plans, building a better future. The Council had feared humanity would destroy their perfect order. Instead, humans had shown the galaxy that the best order wasn't perfect at all. It was messy and changing and full of different ideas, just like Earth. You know what the best part is, Miller said. This is just the beginning. Above them, the galaxy spun on, bigger and brighter than ever before. And for the first time in its long history, it was truly united, not by force or fear, but by hope and friendship. Earth's children had done what they did best. They had made the impossible possible. And they were just getting started.